Ski and welcome in to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. Are we doing little snake hand signs? I don't care what we're doing because holy shit, what a win for the good guys tonight. The Arizona Diamondbacks walk off the Toronto Blue Jays, bottom of the ninth, win this one by a score of 5-4. The Snakes are officially over 500, folks. The Arizona Diamondbacks are now 48 and 47 for the first time, Damon, in 98 days. Your Arizona Diamondbacks are above 500.
Derek, some people in the chat are calling it out, and you sound like you sucked like some helium out of a balloon, kind of. You sounded good before the show, and then we went live, and then immediately you sounded literally like you sucked a balloon. And
that's amazing.
Like
does it still sound like that?
It does, and you got a little bit of a high voice going on. Shane Diefenbach texted me and said, "What is going on?" Yeah, guys, what a win tonight, huh?
I don't know what to do, Damon. I guess I'll have to leave and I'll come back.
Take off your mic and then put it back on and see if that works.
I've never touched anything on this mic. Goodbye.
This is crazy, but what a win, everybody. 5-4, Jerry P. You can't draw it up better than that. And of course, you can't draw up this start to this show better than this either. Let me make myself full screen here. This is unbelievable. Was my helium comparison, was that pretty spot on? Because that's what I was getting out of that. Like it was very helium-esque from my end, at least. We're bringing him back in. Here we go.
Is it still bad?
There we go. We got Derek back, boys.
This is not, I did nothing. I left the room and I came back, and I hate technology. You know that. You know I hate technology, but of course, my name is still Derek Montilla, occasionally known as the mayor of this joint. Thrilled to be here to be talking about this game. Glad that I am sounding a little bit more like myself. But Damon, I'm so glad you're here. You're specifically the person that I want to be doing this show with, because the Diamondbacks, they absolutely have these moments where inexplicably, even on a night where he is 0-3, even on a night where Alek Thomas is 0-3, these guys, since coming back, just find a way to be involved in these big moments. And it really does feel like that thing that was missing for this team. But Jerry P, Geraldo Perdomo, can't say enough about how much it always seems to start with him. In fact, I texted you that simply when he walked, because I was like, here we go. Here's another quintessential Geraldo Perdomo moment where he finds his way on base late and he gives the Diamondbacks just that spark, just that little bit of life.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I told Jesse, take the night off. I got a lot to say tonight, so I'm just gonna rip Perdomo takes the entire show. I don't know if you saw.
That's pretty much what I figured we were here for.
Yeah. I said, Jesse, go get your locker room stuff, hang out, maybe do some writing. But I got the co-hosting duties covered tonight, because we're just talking Geraldo Perdomo for an hour tonight, and I think that's what the people came to see. And I mean, here's a take. I tweeted it right after the game, and he hit his walk-off. Is he the best situational hitter in baseball? Every time you need him to come up in a big moment, he is. Like, specifically situational.
It feels
I'm not
like
talking about like, well, like I'm saying like Cattell was up late in the game before extra innings, and he's going up there, and he's earned this right, but he's going up there hacking, trying to hit it over the fence. And then, he kind of whiffs on it a little bit, hits not a very hard ground ball. That's fine. Cattell's earned that right. But Jerry just goes up there in every moment that you need him, whether it's runners in scoring position, whether it's, bunt to guy over, like every single situation you need him to do something, he's doing exactly what you need from him. And that's just a winning baseball player.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. The offense wasn't really clicking tonight. It seemed like once again we were going to have one of those nights where we see the Diamondbacks, register 5 hits, 4 hits, something like that in a loss in a game where not much happened, right? For the most part, this entire is it still Helium? Are we still talking about Helium? My
No, I
voice,
think
you can't do that to me, Damon, because I don't know. I didn't do anything the first goddamn time, so I don't know why now whether we fine or not fine. But
Leah tuned in to just watch the start of the show and then was like, I have to say something about this.
Yeah, no, get out of here. Bye, Leah. Scram. I only want to talk about Perdomo. I don't want to talk about my high voice. I don't want to talk to anybody. Well, I will say that, of course, the whatever that big hit with Alek Thomas, man. I mean, that was the biggest hit of the game, but that got started once again there by Perdomo walking. You get Gino getting a good at bat there where he walks with 2 outs. And then Alek Thomas does have the biggest hit of the game with a 2-run single that ties the game up at 4. But it very much felt like, Perdomo walking is the key there. I don't like, it just felt like Perdomo getting on base always seems to be that guy. And then, of course, we get a tie ball game there going into the 9th. We get walks once again from Corbin and Ketel. They both steal, causing the Blue Jays to intentionally walk Christian Walker, Walker. And then Jerry P gets the game-winning sac fly to walk off the Blue Jays by a score of 5-4. This was just, I guess this was a big effort tonight from the whole offense, a big team effort. No player had a multi-hit game tonight. No home runs were hit by either team. Quite a few triples were hit once again at Chase Field, which continues to lead the league in triples. But yeah, this game was one of those games where the Diamondbacks offense did enough, and you got to tip your cap to Ryne Nelson. He was fairly incredible tonight. And aside from a couple of moments where he kind of, gave up some leadoff triples that put him in a bad spot that really didn't allow him to walk away without having that run scoring, having a guy on third with no outs. But Ryne Nelson also retired 11 consecutive before giving up that single to Kirk in the 5th that started the scoring. So he was good tonight, and he was efficient up to a point. He goes out there, gives the Diamondbacks 7 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, no walks, 5 strikeouts.
Yeah. Ryne Nelson, I mean, he continues to be incredibly confusing. You don't know what you're going to get from him any given start, but he has these starts where he's pretty damn good, actually. And they're not like super infrequent. He's had, I feel like it's pretty 50-50 this season, whether he just gets shelled or he goes out there and surprises you. So, and Zach Zent says it here in the comments. I think it's a good point. He saved the bullpen tonight. Like we have a fresh bullpen the rest of the series, and the Blue Jays used quite a few arms themselves. So advantage Diamondbacks second of these next 2 games of the series here due to what Ryne Nelson was able to accomplish tonight. I wanted to go back to the offense real quick. Something you said, like it does feel like Jerry, like he's like the catalyst to me. Like that's what, whenever he walks to start an inning, it always feels like, well, like he's probably going to score. I don't know why, but that's just kind of the feeling that I get. But talking about Alek a little bit more, like that guy just delivers in massive moments. And
and again, it doesn't show up in the box score because this is what Alek Thomas does. And it's similar to Geraldo Perdomo, right? Perdomo is going to go 1 for 3 a lot of nights with a walk or 2 walks, but for somehow his presence on base, like you said, was a catalyst for the offense. Alek Thomas just gets timely hits, and those hits come at times where, when we've watched this team early this season, their struggles in April, their struggles in May, you weren't getting that hit. And we said it at loss after loss, like the Diamondbacks just couldn't get that big hit when they had men on base. They couldn't get that big hit in that big moment late in the game that would have tied the game or given them the lead. And again, Alek Thomas's numbers since returning, not excellent, not something you would, brag about, but it seems like at least 3 of those hits have been in gigantic moments that basically won the game for this team. And what happens in the 9th inning doesn't happen without this being a tie ball game, after Alek gets that big hit.
Yeah, I mean, Alek is. I feel like he and Jerry, like you felt their presence missing defensively and in clutch situations. I like particularly those are the two moments that I feel like I felt Alek and Jerry missing early in the season, and like having them back is just it's a godsend. It really is. Like having having a fairly healthy lineup, knock on wood, has been has been pretty good to this team. Like they're actually playing pretty decent offense. I mean, I know they needed extras to score tonight, but like, 4 runs isn't a terrible offensive performance. But outside of, the last couple games of the Braves series, like the offense is starting to figure it out a little bit. And I feel like it's because they're finally healthy to an extent.
Yeah. And I also said stupid things like Geraldo Perdomo and Alek Thomas weren't going to be the savior of this offense. It was going to have to be other players on this team. And that is true. Gino Suarez has been huge this week. And even though
But I understand what you're saying,
tonight,
though.
he still had to walk.
Like,
they're just for some reason, though, like, yeah, because you look their numbers, right? Like Perdomo has a 694 OPS. Alek right now has a 594 OPS. These guys aren't the saviors of your offense, yet somehow they are, because this team has been able to put together, times where their bases loaded and they go over the rest of the inning, and we all die a little inside because we just watched a team, get the bases loaded with 0 outs and not even walk away with a run. We know that there's just been big moments with runners in scoring position, and that was a struggle during those times in April and May where their record was as bad as it was. This team is above 500 right now for the first time in 98 days. In 98 days, since April 5th. April 5th was the last time this team was above 500. So what's incredible about it is that this stretch, this 9-4 stretch right now that they're currently on over their last 13 games, yes, there's wins in there against the Oakland A's, but there's also multiple wins against the Dodgers, the Padres, the Braves, and now, the Blue Jays. So this team should be proud of what they've accomplished lately coming in to the All-Star break. They did not limp into the All-Star break. They did not eke it out. They did not just get here. There's a good chance that the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to have a better record by the end of July than they did last July. And we know what happened last year, so we won't get into all of that. But there's a good chance that because the Diamondbacks had a catastrophic collapse in July last year, that with the role that they're on right now and the pieces that they're getting back after the All-Star break, that this team very well could be in a good position come the end of July, much better than they were, like I said, at this time last year.
Yeah, definitely. When it comes to what you were saying about like they're not going to be the saviors, I think that it's the intangibles they bring to the table that really like help you. I pounded into the ground, but like they're winning baseball players, the two of them particularly. Like Alek is such a good center fielder, which is incredibly underrated at Chase Field in particular, and Perdomo just finds ways to get on base and come through in big moments, and Alek the same thing. But I understand what you're saying because like. I think the guys that need to save, quote unquote, save the offense are Corbin and Gino.
Yeah, they're already here. Yeah,
and Gabby. They're the guys that have been struggling that were here. So I understand that makes sense to me. But yeah, I mean, it once you get Merrill back in particular, that's the one. Like I care about the other guys. I want Erod to play, but I mostly just want Merrill and Zach and Brandon Fott in my rotation, and I'll deal with the rest.
I'm not going to lie. I don't know if Torey's blowing smoke up my ass, but the things that we've heard already about Eduardo Rodriguez and the way he's looking gets me more excited than I probably should be. I'm just saying that it feels like Erod is strong and looks good. We know what we're going to get out of Merrill Kelly, and Jordan Montgomery is just kind of honestly a bit of a wild card right now, right? But the Diamondbacks also have this guy named Yilber Diaz that is absolutely
and that's part of it
right now, right?
I'm excited. I mean, I think everyone's excited to watch Yilber pitch tomorrow. I know we'll get into that a little bit more with Jesse, I'm sure, but like, I mean, like that, I'm pumped for it. Like after what he showed us in his first start, if he can replicate that, like now all of a sudden, that's a rotation that like now you have some question marks. Like, what do you even do with the rotation once people are healthy? If he's pitching like that, like you can't move him out of it.
Yeah. I also would say if I could, I'd go back to Helium Derek mode right now, especially for the ad reads. I'd tell you hit the like button, and then I'll go back to Helium Derek mode. But we have no idea how in what universe he exists and if he's alive or dead anymore at this point. But I do thank you guys very much for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Of course, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, do so now. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss whenever our shows go live. Drop us a like. There's way too many people in here for the number of likes, so maybe hit that like button right now. We'll wait. All right. Now, if you're listening on the audio podcasting side, make sure you're subscribed on your favorite audio podcasting app. Leave us a review. Those 5-star reviews absolutely mean the world to us. Of course, Bet365 is the place to put some money on baseball because Bet365 right now has their early payout offer for baseball. And there were a lot of ass kickings today in baseball. So basically with their early payout offer, you are a winner if your team goes up 5 runs ahead with an instant payout. No need to sit around and wait for the outcome of the game. Parlay and same game parlay selections will be marked as winners as well. So right now, new customers get down on 2 offers that you can get by signing up and using our code of PHNX365 at Bet365. Deposit $10 and choose between a bet and get offer where you can place a bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets, or a first bet safety net offer by placing up to $1,000. And if your qualifying bet loses, you will receive a matched refund in bonus bets. Download the Bet365 app and use our bonus code of PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why it is never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 and over and physically located in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov.
I was hosting the PHNX Bet show today, Derek, and
Yes.
I took some Diamondbacks bets. And
what'd you take?
Over 8.5 runs. Never in doubt.
Never
ever in doubt.
Never in doubt.
They-
That's got to be a good feeling. When it gets to 8, you got it. It's got to be a good feeling, right? When it's a tie ball game, because you're like, it's 4-4. I'm getting that. Not the check
cash
mark.
it.
Cash it. Cash it.
My other bets not so hot, but that one never ever in doubt.
Are we going to talk about the guy that bet on Gino to hit a home run yesterday and then caught the ball at Chase Field?
That's the craziest thing I think I've ever seen in my life.
That's
so wild.
I don't even understand. I don't even understand. And that probably feels a little bit better than the 4-4 thing, knowing you're going to get that extra run, but still also maybe a very good feeling and one you can get at Bet365. That's for sure. Of course, if you need to hire yourself a new reporter, because let's just say hypothetically the one you currently hire takes way too long at the clubhouse to join the show, you can check out Indeed.com. There's lots of qualified reporters on there.
Derek,
and if you need to hire,
I tried to shoot Paul Sewald Indeed.com yesterday, but Jake McCarthy robbed it. You missed that on the show yesterday.
Oh man, well, Jake McCarthy, I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but I didn't like Paul Sewald disregarding that like it was going to be a home run. I agree with you that very much should have been a play your outfielder makes. However, that was going to be a home run. If he mistimed that was out of here. Did you see the guy that was like that? Like that guy was running for his life because that ball was going to hit him. Of course, we have a qualified outfielder, but again, if you need to hire a qualified outfielder or maybe a qualified clubhouse reporter, Indeed.com is the place to do it. Ditch the busy work. Let Indeed do the work for you. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster and forget having to sift through all those candidates. Indeed will help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast, like we did with Damon. Well, he might have been hired by another service, but I'm just mean he's the best. Listeners of the show right now will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support this show by saying you heard about Indeed on the Diamondbacks podcast. Tell them we're the best. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. All right, well, let's take a look at the count presented by our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, because this is one of those counts that maybe tells the story a little bit of this game. Diamondbacks outscore the Toronto Blue Jays 5-4. The Blue Jays actually out-hit the D-backs 8-6. Runners in scoring position, that's where Diamondbacks won this game today. They were 3 for 7 to the Blue Jays 1 for 5. Blue Jays had those 3 extra base hits, including 2 triples, to the Diamondbacks 2 extra base hits. And then, of course, baseball is baseball. Both teams had a 25% hard hit percentage.
Wild.
It's wild. Baseball's always going to be wild, and it's going to make no sense. But like I said, the runners in scoring position, something the Diamondbacks struggled with all season long. And it feels like when we see them hitting 350, 400 with runners in scoring position, they win ball games. And I know that's that's as simple as saying, like, you score more runs or score more runs, you're going to win games, right? It's easy to say. But it really does feel like it's not opportunity that has held this team back. It is not having the ducks on the pond. It is bringing them in. And again, that's where Alek Thomas's timely hit was so big. That's where, those 2 of those runners in scoring position come in at.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the stats in front of us. This is probably more of a Jesse question, but it definitely feels like they haven't been great with runners in scoring position this year. At least in clutch moments. I'd love to see in games, the last 3 innings of games that are within 2 runs. You know what I mean? Like I those are the numbers I'd like to see. But yeah, it really was that simple tonight. Like, we hit better with runners in scoring position. They didn't, and that was the difference.
That's the difference. Yeah. And honestly, they had opportunities. They got those triples. They got guys in scoring position. And like I said, the Diamondbacks were just able to take advantage of it. And that's where they win this game. But again, last night, a 1-0 victory over the Atlanta Braves. Today, a 5-4 victory. Winning teams that can go on to do something special, figure out ways to win these close ball games. They weren't figuring out ways to win close ball games early on. It was feast or famine there for a while. It was getting blown out or blowing out the other team. Then it came down to the fact that we just saw this team start to blow these leads late, these games late. This one, I mean, you could argue that maybe Ryne Nelson got left out a little too long. However, his pitch count was still very low. You can understand Torey letting him go out there, and Ryne Nelson still gave this team 7 quality innings and only gave up the 3 earned runs. So it's big. It's big, especially here as they try to finish strong going into the All-Star break, to have, a rested bullpen and try to win this last series against the Toronto Blue Jays. And maybe now with getting this first game victory, which they haven't been able to do very often in the month of July, maybe now they can finally get that sweep that they haven't really been able to get very often this season.
Yeah. I thought the Blue Jays were a little bit better than they were yesterday. When I was talking about them, I kind of assumed they were like maybe a few games over 500 or so. I mean, they've struggled a little bit. They have good players. They have good players on their team.
Guys to injury. Yeah. I mean, it's like, that's one thing that's becoming more and more common around baseball, is when we're facing these teams, they're not at 100%, just like we weren't at 100%, but the Diamondbacks now have the advantage of dealing with that early on. And as we get closer and closer to the end of the season, unlike other teams that are losing key players at times to injury, the Diamondbacks just keep getting them back. So the fact that they sit right now at 48 and 47 is quite the achievement, considering the pieces that they're missing. And it makes the idea of getting those 3 starting pitchers back even more exciting. Exciting, and again, no discredit to Ryne Nelson, because he is a guy that the Diamondbacks have suddenly found to be reliable, much more reliable than the other options that they've called up this year. Ryne Nelson has gone out there, given them quality starts. He's given them length. He's put up, a few runs. I mean, he is just a guy that has quietly, without too much fanfare, too much notice, has developed into one of their more stable starting pitchers that they've turned to this season.
Well, I mean, out of necessity, right? Like, they don't have they literally don't have anybody else. I mean, like, I wouldn't go as far to say as like he's necessarily been good. He's kind of
Well,
been what Ryne Nelson always is to me, at least.
I mean, he's been
4.98
better.
ERA. Yeah, he's pushed that down a lot recently, but
Right.
like in the last
He's been
2
better, though.
games.
The thing is that he has starts that you can go back and look at and say, oh, wow, he gave him 7 innings there. He gave him 6 2/3 innings there. Like, he's been putting it together more and more as far as the length goes. And that's something that they just weren't getting out of the other options that they've tried to rely on. Tommy Henry, Slade Ciccone. These are guys that have pitched well, but they have not been able to give the Diamondbacks consistency. And I think that's what Ryne Nelson has developed into, a consistent pitcher. Yes, he's not going to be perfect. Yes, he's going to go out there and throw a shit ton of fastballs like he did tonight, which is probably that was his weakness tonight, right? He went out there and you could tell his secondary stuff wasn't working. He tried to rely on the slider a little bit, but for the most part, it was just another fastball heavy night. And he's never going to be at his best when he's throwing exclusively fastballs or majority of fastballs above 55, 60% fastballs, but he was still very good tonight. He was still very good. And I mean, that's the thing is that I think Ryne Nelson deserves credit for the fact that he is a guy that they've, that knows that he's not going to be part of this starting rotation going forward and still has given this team everything and went from being shaky, and inconsistent and giving up, like a lot of that earned run is from starts from earlier in the season and not from his last 5 starts. I'm not looking at his numbers, so I could be completely wrong about that, but it does feel like he's put together some better performances lately, and it's been very timely because the Diamondbacks needed that. They needed guys that could eat up innings and go longer than what they were getting out of so many of their starting pitchers that that just weren't getting the job done.
Yeah, I think he deserves a lot of credit for struggling.
71% fastballs. Oh my god. Or 71 fastballs.
Crazy.
That's nuts. Yeah, that's crazy.
I think he deserves a lot of credit for struggling somewhat early in the season. Obviously, they've needed him the whole time, so they didn't have the luxury of being like, we're going to bring in someone else to try instead. And he got sent down once, I think, right? But he got called right back up.
Yeah.
So I think he deserves credit for staying on focus, staying on track, like making this a situation where it wasn't going to snowball and keep getting worse and worse and worse, making it where he buckled down and he figured out what was going wrong, and he's been pitching a lot better. And mentally, that's an impressive stuff, especially at a professional level. That's not the easiest thing to do. A lot of guys crumble under pressure like that. So props to him for that. Absolutely.
Do we want to talk about Doug Edding's strike zone? Because I don't really want.
Yeah, he was terrible tonight.
I'm not in the mood to get that angry, Damon. I feel like my God, these umpires. You know what it feels like? It feels like I'm more surprised on a night where they're getting it right. Like on a night where they're actually getting the calls right, I feel like feels more rare and feels like the outlier, and I find myself pleasantly pleased on nights like that. Shout out to 2BMC for your super chat. He says donating to Derek's Helium Fund. Go get yourself a tank, big man. It's on me tonight. I appreciate it. I'm gonna head over to Walmart and fill up my little you can get those balloon little party cake size helium tanks.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't need the balloons. It's just gonna go.
Somebody said earlier,
right out the nozzle.
Somebody said earlier in the chat that they want to hear you do throwing shade with the helium voice.
Oh, yeah. Again, if I could figure out a way to make the helium voice come back, then I absolutely would do that. What else we got for super chats, Damon? You got something else?
Yeah, we got a couple more super chats. One of them here is from my friend AZ Catch G, who I met out at Chicken and Pickle. Him and his wife were there. They are driving back home from the game, and he says, good win. $2. Thank you, AZ Catch G.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, that was a great win, and good to meet new friends at Chicken and Pickle. By the way, we have our Chicken and Pickle tournament.
Oh yeah,
coming up here. Was that July 20? Is it the 27th? I believe is the date on that. It's also the same day that Deadpool and Wolverine come out. No free ads. I'm just saying. I love you, Ryan Reynolds.
Did you know Johnny bought us tickets for that? Legitimately 3 months ago. Bo and Johnny. He bought them the day they went live and got.
Yeah, that's why I don't do that.
Was the best seats in the movie theater, and he's been talking about it nonstop for the entire time.
And now he's got to sell them. You guys got Chicken Pickle date. You guys got to go win a tournament. is what you got to do. Gnarly old goat dude, thank you so much. He said, coincidentally going to be in Chicago for D-back series. First time at Wrigley, and the Stoke tank is at critical levels. It should be, because Wrigley is beautiful. He says Chicago
Don't
dog
get this
race
guy
and
started.
bleachers. What's that?
I said, don't get this guy started on Wrigley.
I'm just saying, don't even get me started. Like, yes, if you're inviting me to a hot dog race of any kind, the answer is yes. But no, yeah, I can't wait. We're going to be, Damon, we're going to be doing a show from Murphy's. We're going to be at Wrigley Field. We will be there for that series. So I'm very hyped for that. So, yeah, it's a cathedral to baseball. It's absolutely beautiful. And I hope you absolutely enjoy it as much as I did my first time
Derek
out there.
talks about Wrigley Field like I talk about Geraldo Perdomo. That's the equivalent.
You want me to get, I'll stand up on my desk and get my first time certificate down if you really want me to. I mean, I went to the kiosk and I got my first time at Wrigley certificate. They gave me baseball cards. They took pictures with me. They patted me on the head. And then I got a beer bat that didn't cost me $45. So check out beautiful and historic Wrigley Field. We haven't given out the King Snake, though. I doubt that there's any doubt in anybody's mind who is the King Snake. I doubt Damon would let me give it to anybody else. So let's give it to our guy, Jerry P, the Domo, staring into your living room right now, wondering what in the world is this camera doing in my face. Walk-off sac fly tonight. RBI, the biggest RBI of the game. That big walk that also gets things started. It's hard because, again, Alek Thomas's hit, like I acknowledged earlier, is the biggest hit of this game. I don't think there's any doubt about that. However, it's once again, it like that hit involved Jerry P, and then the end involves Jerry P. It's like Perdomo is just magical, and there's something about him that not only, again, gets the offense going, right, but the pitchers themselves have talked about it at length. They've brought it up time and time again in post-game, shows that he gives them so much support, so much love. I went through something, Damon, that was indescribable as far as how tough yesterday was for me. And the only reason I'm here doing the show right now is because of the love and support from people. My wife was very supportive of, my mental state in the last 24 hours. And so was so many people in this chat, so many people on Twitter, you especially. I appreciate you. But again, like, sometimes it sounds so silly. Sometimes it doesn't really make all the sense in the world, but having someone that shows you legitimate, sincere support in life can be life-changing. It can be game-changing. And again, they talked about on the broadcast tonight about Geraldo Perdomo being out there on the mound and being the last guy that leaves the mound every single time. That man
every time
means it when he's out there. He means it to go out there and, show his pitcher that he cares and that he's got his back. And you see it, like I think tonight we saw Ryne Nelson, like, say, you could see it, like, thanks, man. Like, he said it to Perdomo. And I don't know, like, you talked about the intangibles, and that's an intangible that's hard to describe, especially for the confidence that it can provide to a pitcher that needs it so greatly in that moment. When you've walked a batter or you're letting the game slip away, you feel like you suck. You feel like you're terrible. We've seen Jordan Montgomery say it after a bad start. He's like, I sucked. I was bad. And like, that's how they feel. And sometimes having Jerry come over and pat you on the back and tell you that you're awesome and that you're going to get through this and that they're going to be there to help you out defensively, like, it just seems to be incredibly important.
I want Joseph to just leave. I'm going to give him one opportunity to leave on his own accord. You can leave on your own accord before I ban you.
It feels like shots fired specifically going to you too. Like, you could go to me and that might have been a little funnier, but it's not so funny when it comes to Damon Dog there and his love of Geraldo Perdomo.
Yeah, I mean, you could with Jerry, you could just tell that this means everything to him. At every waking moment of it does. Like, he's just locked in all the time, and I mean, you just love to have that guy on your team, and you love to have that guy playing shortstop for your team in particular.
Yeah, I mean, he means the world to this team. And again, like, when you look at the record, you look at the way that things change for the Diamondbacks in June, in July. One guy came back over that period of time. One guy kind of changed the outlook of this team, changed the clubhouse a bit, and that's Geraldo Perdomo. So shout out to Jerry P for being incredible. And again, being just a huge factor in tonight's win. Of course, we also want to thank Desert Financial Credit Union for not only making sure that my numbers in the count are correct, but making sure all of our financial numbers are accurate, and also that they could get us started on our financial goals, our journey, whatever you're looking to accomplish. My home ownership journey got started by Desert Financial, and hopefully they can start you on yours as well. Because let me tell you, I've seen what some of my friends pay in rent, and it breaks my heart. And Damon, I'm sorry, I didn't even mean you're specifically who I'm talking about, but also
in my little box of a room right now. That by the way, I brought this next to me this time because yesterday I was so cold. People were calling me out in the chat for wearing a hoodie, and I'm wearing the same hoodie today. I don't know can we see this? Look at that, Derek. Look at this room right now.
You don't pay for that. I know you do. You don't pay
joking.
for that. You do not pay for that air conditioning. I know you don't.
Well, the problem is if I move it up, my roommate gets really hot in his room. So then I feel bad. So I never touch it. So I just deal with it.
So you just live life in hoodies. It's not a terrible life. I live in an igloo. That sounds pretty nice right now. Let me tell you, I'm pretty hot, but I can change. I got nifty gadgets. I can change my thermostat from my phone. I might do that right now just to cool it down a little bit in here. But again, I'm very thankful to Desert Financial for this home I live in, and they are a huge reason why I live in it. For more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. You can look to Desert Financial for checking and savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and so much more. And when you open a free checking account online right now, you can get $200 in bonuses. Get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. And also big shout out to Four Peaks. I've been enjoying, of course, the Bad Birdie Juicy Golden Ale, which everybody should enjoy. Everybody should try. You can get it not only at the Four Peaks location here in town, you can get it at grocery stores around the valley. You can also get it in tap lines at your favorite bar, but make sure to try out all the wonderful beers that Four Peaks has to offer. Tonight, I saw our buddy Cody Del Mendo from the CHGO podcast over there trying some chicken tendies at some restaurant in Chicago, and he was giving them a glowing review. And all I could think was, I already know they pale in comparison to the Four Peaks chicken tendies,
Yeah, that's cute.
It's cute, but it's no Four Peaks chicken tendies. So visit fourpeaks.com/locator to find all your favorite beers and events. Check out at Four Peaks Brew or Four Peaks Pub to keep up with the latest at Arizona's hometown brewery. Must be 21 or older to drink Four Peaks, and please drink responsibly. Of course, very, very excited to be joined by our guy, the one and only Thunderstick, my vice mayor, the man who I'm going to be spending entirely too much time with over the next 9 to 10 days, Jesse Friedman. What a win for this Arizona Diamondbacks. 2 nights in a row, they figure out a way to take a close one. They improved to 9-4 in their last 13 games, and we are officially over 500 for the first time in 98 days.
Pretty crazy, Derek. They finally climbed that mountain. Cattell's been working at it for a long time, but he finally made it to the top.
Damon, he said the thing. Damon, he said the thing. Do the thing. Make the thing work. He can't. Let's go. Yeah, beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. April 5th, last time they were over 500. It's a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a good while since the Diamondbacks have gotten there. And they've had many opportunities to, right? And they just haven't been able. I mean, it's like the moment the Diamondbacks get to 500, then not only are they losing that game, but they're probably going on like a 3 or 4 game losing streak, or they're dropping 4 out of 5 or something like that. And they're digging themselves another hole to have to find their way out of. So yeah, this was an impressive win, Derek. I mean, the D-backs grabbed an early lead 2-0, but then the Blue Jays just kind of kept chipping away. They were sacrifice flying and RBI ground outing the Diamondbacks to death, basically. We saw a whole lot of sacrifice flies in particular in this baseball game. But I mean, you get a leadoff triple, which the Blue Jays did twice in this game. You have a really good chance to score a run in that situation. They were able to cash in both of those situations. Bryce Jarvis did give up a run as well in the 8th inning after Ryne Nelson left this game, made it a 4-2 deficit. And at that point, you're looking at pretty long odds to come back and win this game. I believe this is win number 3, Derek, where the Diamondbacks fell down by 2 runs and then came back and won the game. So I don't know if we're putting that narrative to bed, but
They're like 3 and
not
53.
only yeah, I mean, not only did they come back from a 2-run deficit, but they came back from a 2-run deficit in the span of, like 20, 30 minutes at the very end of this game. I mean, it all happened in innings 8 and 9. So pretty impressive comeback for the D-backs tonight. Obviously, base running was a really big part of this as well. A double steal in that 9th inning, setting up Geraldo Perdomo for the sac fly. So D-backs they're back over 500. There you go.
We talked about Geraldo Perdomo being our king snake tonight. And again, it's just one of those things where you can't really explain it because Alek Thomas and Geraldo Perdomo, their, OPS doesn't look great. A lot of nights they definitely don't have the most hits or the best night as far as the offense goes. But there is just something magical about both of those guys and their ability to just, I guess, stay competitive and understand the importance of those at bats late in the game. I mean, it does feel at times like when we've seen this team have runners in scoring position that we kind of see some lackadaisical at bats, some disappointing, just some disappointing counts where they're not really working the count the way we see Geraldo Perdomo, or, just not incapable of getting that big hit the way that Alek Thomas has gotten that big hit. These guys just both have been incredible for this team, even though the stat line would completely disagree with that statement.
That's fair. I mean, I know Alek Thomas has more than 2 hits since returning from the injured list, but like the only ones I can remember are the grand slam in San Diego, and then the one tonight, right? Because those ones like stand out by a very wide margin for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
but it does feel like there's something here to Alek Thomas kind of having a flair for the dramatic a little bit. I mean, of course, there were certainly some moments during the regular season last year, but in particular in the playoffs, the Phillies home run certainly stands out there above everything else. Alek Thomas has come up with some pretty big hits for the Diamondbacks this season, and I guess we'll jump into some Clubhouse videos here. Here's Alek Thomas talking about having the proverbial slow heartbeat that allows him to come through in these kinds of situations.
I've had a slow heartbeat for a while, and it's hard for me to get it up. So yeah, I mean that got it up for sure after the fact. But I just try to do whatever I can to help the team win. The moments in the playoffs from last year have helped ease the calm a little bit and be able to take a deep breath and relax this year.
Were you tracking the ball as you were running down the first base line? Look for a second there like Varsh might have had a shot at it.
Yeah, I'm really thankful that he didn't dive and catch it, which I know he probably could have. But yeah, I know he's a little banged up, so I know that he can make that play, but I'm really thankful that he didn't.
It's disgusting how cool that man is. It's gross, and I can't stand it because not only is he literally cool under pressure and calm with the slow heartbeat, but again, it feels at times like this team has been very anxious, and Perdomo might bring a certain X factor when it comes to like keeping people loose, but I also feel like Alek Thomas's calm nature, just like Brandon Pfaadt's calm nature, is a bit infectious, and it causes you to like relax a little bit yourself.
I think it's funny. I mean, it kind of sounds like Alek Thomas is irritated there when he's talking about having a slow heartbeat. He's like, yeah, no matter what I do, I can't get my heart rate.
Can't get it up. I drink Red Bulls. I smash candy. Nothing works. I watch X-Men. I watch freaking X Games. Like, let's go. I can't get anything to make me excited.
I think he's speaking in the literal sense. I mean, this question was maybe more of like the metaphorical slow heartbeat, but I think you meant the literal sense. He's like, yes, my heart rate is literally, like 35 or something when I'm at rest or whatever. Now I'm like kind of curious. But this was another example of Alek Thomas coming through in a big spot for this team. And it also was funny to me what he said at the end about Dalton Varsho. I also, in the moment watching this game from the press box, my initial reaction was, that's a play that not very many outfielders in the league can make, but Dalton Varsho is probably one of them. If anyone can make that play, it's probably Dalton Varsho. I mean, he's literally the best outfielder in baseball. I think the metrics back that up over the last couple of years. So I was a little surprised. Yeah, I was a little surprised that Varsho wasn't more aggressive in a situation like that. I mean, granted, if it gets by him, then it's probably going to the wall. Who knows how far a guy like Alek Thomas is able to get with no one there backing him up, at least not, and take a while for the center fielder to come over and help out in a spot like that. But and they kind of got each other too. So Alek Thomas, is able to get that single to drop in. And then Dalton Varsho challenged Alek Thomas's arm in the outfield earlier in the game on a pretty shallow sacrifice fly. And he was able to score there. So Varsho is back in town, Derek. Dalton Varsho is back in Arizona for the first time. I mean, I guess maybe
we are familiar with his game,
but
we are familiar with his game.
Yes, that we are. Yeah.
Of course, the other half of that is Geraldo Perdomo. And again, either one of these guys could have been our king snake tonight, but Jerry, just as we discussed earlier, Jesse, before you joined the show, he just seems to be that guy that's involved in all of these big moments somehow, some way. He gets the sac fly RBI tonight that wins the game. He's also a part of that, of tying the ball game up by getting on and with a walk. It's funny because I remember hearing him with our pal Steve Zinsmeister before he returned from injury, saying that the thing he missed most was being down 0-2 in the count and working at full. And boy, have we seen him do that since he's returned. And again, he's just such a valuable piece of this team when it comes to his ability to not give up on an at bat and realize that him getting on via a walk or any other method is just as good as a single. And right now, this team just needs a base runner. Like, it feels like he understands that better than most guys in the starting lineup.
Yeah, and you saw it in the ninth inning, right? The team just needed a fly ball. They didn't need a grand slam, and Geraldo Perdomo is able to deliver exactly that. Perdomo, of course, spoke with the media after this game. Some funny stuff here. Here's what Geraldo Perdomo had to say about his walk-off sac fly tonight. What's your mindset coming up in a spot like that?
Win again. Oh, you think I'm joking? I told Justin before that. I mean, I was joking, but God heard me. He heard me, and I'm glad I win again for the boys.
Are you trying to get the ball in the air? Is that across your
Always. When I got running scoring position, like late in the game, like most of the time, just think about hit the ball with shortstop. But situation like this, like base loading, like infielding, I always try to put the ball in there. That's the mindset for every team player. You know what I mean? So.
First walk off for you in the major leagues. Have you had many in the minors?
Never. That's my first time ever.
First ever?
Yeah.
How does that feel? You're gonna look back on that?
I feel good. It wasn't my best swing either way. So I'm happy for Corbin was in third base. Thank God for sure.
I just love when he said, I won it for the boys. I just love that particular. I didn't win it for me. I didn't win it for the fans. I did it for the boys. And man, that's what Geraldo Perdomo is. But just, again, a guy that seems to deliver when the team needs him.
100%. Yeah, Jerry also, we learned from Alek Thomas that Jerry was given the vest after this game. However, he did not keep the vest. He passed it off to Ryne Nelson, who of course pitched very well in this game. So Jerry with the selfless act. And I know Damon is just bubbling over with compliments.
Dude, I'm fanning myself off back here.
And he's watching that video. He's freezing in that room, and he still has to fan himself off.
Jesse, it's 64. It's 64 degrees in here, and I'm having to fan myself off because just keep it coming. Keep it going.
Yeah, pretty good stuff from her.
And again, Ryne Nelson, Damon and I were talking about Ryne Nelson earlier. Ryne Nelson really deserves his flowers for what he's been able to do for this team late, even though he's not perfect, even though he's not going out there and, giving you what he gave you in one of those games all the time. Ryne Nelson has given you length that other guys have not been able to give you. And he's grown to just be a much more consistent starting pitcher where you know what you're going to get out of him. And he's given this team a chance to win ball games.
Yeah, I don't I don't really know what to do with Ryne Nelson's outing tonight, Derek, if I'm being totally honest. He threw 74% four-seam fastballs.
Yeah, 71 of them, right?
How many times this season have we had conversations? How many times has Torey Lovullo talked about wanting to see Ryne Nelson rely less on the four-seamer and more on the secondary stuff? And I feel like what we keep coming back to with him is that the reality is the secondary stuff isn't that great, but the four-seamer is really pretty darn good if it's located well. And tonight it was located pretty well. Nelson was really working the edges pretty much all night. There's a lot of weak contact in this game. You know, you had 5 strikeouts, which is a decent number, but it's not like you had 10 punch outs in this game. There was a lot of weak contact, though. I think he was genuinely getting a lot of Blue Jays hitters to just be a little bit underneath his four-seam fastball. And that's what that fastball can do. I mean, it's got a lot of upward carry. We do see some swing and miss with it for sure, but we also at times just see a lot of lazy pop flies, and there was certainly a lot of that tonight for Ryne Nelson.
Well, Ryne Nelson, again, definitely deserves his credit. He spoke about getting over 500, which we know that it has been a very long time, almost 100 days, Jesse, since this team has been over 500. And again, the timing couldn't be better considering that they've struggled. They've gone through their ups and downs this season, and a lot of downs, especially in April and May. But, man, this team is playing damn good baseball right now, and they still have some very key components set to return after the All-Star break. It's very encouraging right now if you're a Diamondbacks fan.
Yeah, and here's Ryne Nelson talking about getting back over the hump, being above 500 once again.
Yeah, I think it's foot on the gas time. Let's see how far out in front of 500 we can get, and I think this team we can get on a roll, and we can play really well.
And I agree. I mean, one thing we've said is, yes, Geraldo Perdomo and Alek Thomas weren't going to be the saviors of the offense, yet they still have this incredible impact on the offense. It's returning, but the pieces that they really needed to get going are here on the team. They're healthy. They're not doing as well. You have Gino Suarez, who all of a sudden comes back online here in the month of July, and especially over the last 5 days. And now this team's winning ball games because Gino is getting those big hits. And it's another guy that's delivering that for this team that they really haven't had as an option so far this season because of his struggles.
Yeah, Gino has come around for sure. This wasn't a great game for him. I think he struck out 3 times today, but he did draw a walk, which wound up being a very important walk. He scored when Alek Thomas hit that 2-run single in the 8th inning. So yeah, you're starting to get some more contributions there, and you're starting to get some more contributions from a number of guys who struggled earlier in the season. Corbin Carroll wasn't, necessarily an outstanding game for him, but he did have an RBI knock in this game. And he also set the table for that comeback in the 9th inning. I mean, a Corbin Carroll walk is pretty much the worst nightmare of the opposing team in a tie game in the bottom of the 9th inning. Like that's a tough spot to be in. And Corbin, he delivered. I mean, the D-backs, you're able to pull off a double steal that was very key in winning this game.
And we haven't even really talked about that, but there is something amazing about Corbin Carroll getting on base, especially lately, because it feels like the old Corbin is back, where he has that confidence to run, and he's stealing bases successfully and not getting caught. But also, him out there dancing around on the base path is an absolute nuisance to the opposing pitcher, and you could tell with the amount of balls that they're throwing when Corbin Carroll is out there. They have to worry about him so much that their focus can't primarily be on delivering the ball to home plate. And you can see a result of that. That's part of the chaos that's been missing this season. But part of it isn't just the stolen bases. It's the fact that once someone like Carroll gets on base, he can cause the issues for the opposing defense.
My question for you, Derek, and I also want to know how Damon feels about this. Is this it in terms of the D-backs getting over 500? Are we not going to have this conversation anymore? Is this the last time that they cross that threshold and they stay over 500 the rest of the season.
I wish that was true. I wish that was true, but I'm going to say I'm doubtful of that. And the reason why I say I'm doubtful of that is because when those starting pitchers come back, they're going to have to acclimate back into pitching against major league, hitters again. And there's not going to be immediate success potentially for those guys, but it doesn't mean that Torey can even consider giving up on them if this team is to have any kind of chance to make the playoffs or in the playoffs. So I think there's going to be maybe some growing pains. Hopefully they're not bad. Hopefully these guys return and they're like Zach Gallen was after this last stint on the IL, where you felt like, oh, wow, Gallen's like right now. And his last start wasn't great, but it's still a decent start even for Zach Gallen, right? So it's like, it's better than what you're getting most of the times out of some of the other options. And that's what's key, is even if these guys aren't sharp yet, they're still probably going to be better than some of the Diamondbacks' other options in the starting rotation. And, it's about getting those guys back to 100% so that they can help contribute to this game, to this team down the stretch. I think they're willing to give up losses in order to continue to put those guys out there if they're 100% to get them, back online.
Yeah, that Geraldo Perdomo, we don't have video of this, but in his conversation with the BD after this game, he did talk about just sort of where the D-backs stand going into the All-Star break. And he mentioned the fact that this team is missing 3/5 of its starting rotation right now, and how it feels pretty good to be above 500 considering that, which I think is a very fair point to make. We're talking about a D-backs team that's above 500 when Merrill Kelly has hardly pitched this year and Eduardo Rodriguez literally has not pitched this year, and Jordan Montgomery is hurt. And when he has been on the field, he's been, frankly, a bit of a disaster to this point in the season. So in the context of all those things, like, it is, in a sense, kind of impressive that the D-backs are where they are. Another thing Perdomo mentioned that I thought was interesting is he specifically mentioned wanting Mike Hazen to buy. He said, we want to put our GM in a position where we are buyers at the trade deadline. This is sort of an inflection point of the season. It's not just a matter of, where are you at the halfway mark of the season? Or I guess we're a little bit past the halfway mark now. It's, at the deadline, are you going to be a team that gets better? Or are you going to be a team that potentially gets worse? And the Diamondbacks, as of right now, I mean, the standings are sort of utter chaos, which of course is how it's been for weeks now. Probably will continue that way based on what we've seen so far. But yeah, the D-backs are in a pretty good spot now in terms of being buyers at the trade deadline.
Kevin Haskey says Candyman is back tomorrow, aka El Dulce. Yilber Diaz back on the mound. Very excited for that, but more excited for the fact that this team is just playing very good baseball, and especially last night and tonight. I think the key is winning these close baseball games, right? Excuse me. They've been unable at times to close out these close baseball games, and I think that's the most encouraging, not only for fans to believe in this team again, but for Torey to feel like this team can get it done when these games aren't a blowout.
I feel like it was kind of fitting that you had to sneeze immediately after saying that the D-backs are winning close games, because it's like they are winning some of them.
Was that like a Pinocchio situation? I had a Helium situation earlier, Jesse, where my microphone just decided to make me sound like I was talking like a small mouse, or like I had ingested helium. I don't even know why that happened. There wasn't a loose cord. It was just, StreamYard making me look like a fool in my return to this show. But I'm glad they did.
Jesse, you have to go back and watch it, man. The second the show ends,
will. Yeah.
I need to watch your live reaction of it too. Like I need that in my life.
Shut up,
it's
Damon.
So
get
good.
Out of here. Scram. Get out of here. But we do have Torey on this win. And here's what Torey Lovullo had to say about tonight's big 5-4 win.
It was another gritty win, and that's how we do it. That's how we prepare to do it. That's how sometimes we expect to do it, and we didn't shut down. We had some really frustrating moments where we were playing good baseball. We gave up a lead. We maybe had some runners in scoring position with 2 outs, couldn't get that big hit, but we just stayed with it. I watched team at bats take over. We drew a couple of walks. We advanced on pass balls, wild pitches, stole bases. The key for me was setting up AT's base hit that tied the score. That was clearly the thing that gave us all the momentum, put us right back in the game. Quality at bat, but it was set up by back-to-back walks to Perdomo and Suarez. That's the type of team at bat I was talking about. On a night where we were a little bit thin with our front end guy, our main back end guys in the bullpen, Nelly dialed it up and gave us 7 real good innings. I kind of predetermined before the game that if he was in a position to give us a little bit more, that I was going to allow him to, and gave it back to a couple pieces that were available, and we ended up winning this game because of what Ryne Nelson was able to give us. So it's game 1 of a 3-game series. We got to check this one off and just enjoy this win and come out tomorrow and just go 1-0 tomorrow. That's got to be our mindset as we start to close out this first half.
Jesse, did he say this was a gritty win? Did he say this was a gritty win?
I love that you just have a Kirk Gibson face just like available to you at your desk. That's amazing.
There's a lot of crap up there. I'm not gonna lie, but it was a gritty win, and of course the Diamondbacks have figured out ways to win in several different fashions this year. I think again this was a night where no multi hits from any players on the Diamondbacks, no home runs from anybody. Nobody was the standout hero, and it felt like the offense was just kind of a combined effort from guys getting on base and getting some key hits at times.
Yeah, it was a well-rounded game for the Diamondbacks, really, when all was said and done. And just to reiterate what Torey was talking about there, like Paul Sewald was down in this game. I feel very confident saying Ryan Thompson, I think, was down. Kevin Ginkel, I think, was also down. All 3 of those guys had gone back-to-back each of the last 2 days, as well as 3 out of the last 4. So you don't want to go 3 in a row. You don't want to go 4 out of 5 with any of those guys, I don't think. So the D-backs didn't have a whole lot available to them in the back end of the bullpen today. I mean, it was really just Justin Martinez is probably the only positive role guy who was actually available tonight. And of course, we did see him. He pitched a nice quick 1-2-3 inning to set the Diamondbacks up for the win in the bottom half of the 9th. But yeah, I mean, Miguel Castro was out there. He might have pitched if this game had gone to extras. He was warming up in the bullpen in that 9th inning. Bryce Jarvis.
Your microphone died. We'll wait for him to come back online.
You hear me again? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back. It's a different mic now, okay. But anyway,
we've been here before. Anyway, go ahead.
It's a broken night. It's a broken night, and it's fine. It's fine. I'm kind of a broken person right now, but I needed this show. I needed this win, Jesse. You're right. Bryce Jarvis did falter a bit, but he allowed the 1 earned run in his 1 inning of work. But Justin Martinez just lights out again, and I feel like Torey probably would have left Martinez in for the 10th if this went to extra innings, perhaps. And I don't know for sure if that would have been the case, but it very much feels like what a great weapon that is for Torey to utilize late in the game, especially like you said, with so many of the relievers, the key relievers down right now.
Yeah, what I was getting at with Jarvis is that, I mean, the Blue Jays had the bases loaded and nobody out in that inning. And when that happened, I was looking at, people sitting next to me.
Oh, yeah.
Watch Bryce Jarvis somehow. Maybe it wasn't going to be scoreless. Like scoreless would have been pretty bullish with bases loaded, nobody out. But sure enough, I mean, he dials up a double play. He only allowed 1 run in the inning on a sacrifice fly. So Jarvis just continues to work out of precarious situation after precarious situation. Yeah. And that was a big part of the D-backs winning this game. Like, he's not normally the 8th inning guy for this team. Granted, the D-backs were down at that point, so maybe even with a fully stocked bullpen, Torey would have gone to a guy like Jarvis anyway. But the fact that he was able to limit damage there and make it just the 1 run instead of 2 or 3, which it very easily could have been, that's a really big part of this win for the Diamondbacks as well.
Well, of course, Jesse, we know that I don't lie. I never lie. We know Torey doesn't lie. We know you don't lie. And we know Damon's a huge liar. But, of course, the numbers, they also, much like you and I and Torey, never lie. What do you have for tonight's number that doesn't lie?
I think it's 1 in 5. I put it in the rundown a long time ago, so I don't really remember. But
yeah, that is
That is it. Okay, great. So 1-5, 1-5 represents the Diamondbacks record when they are 500. So up to this point in the season, they had 5 shots from a 500 record to actually get over the hump and be an above 500 team. They were 0 for 5 coming into today. Now they are 1-5 in those games. I guess this technically doesn't count the very first day of the season where they did win and they were technically 500 at that point, although they hadn't played any games. So I guess they're not really 500 at that point.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, that does.
Your mic went away again. This is a great night. It's a great night on this show. Let me tell you. I promise we'll get things better. We'll have things ironed out on the road, right? They have to go better on the road.
Let's hope so, Derek. Yeah, let's hope that. I mean, we all know my history with audio equipment.
You're gonna break everything. Nothing is gonna come back working from this trip. We know that.
It's gonna break on me, Derek. I refuse to believe the narrative, the very misguided narrative that I am the one responsible for breaking all of these devices. I think they just mysteriously all happen to break when I'm using them and no one else. That's my explanation.
Something I like to tell people, Jesse, is when it keeps happening to you, you have to consider that you might be the problem. And that's all I'm going to say. But
I'm happy to consider it. I've just already ruled it out. We're already past that point. We're looking for other explanations at this point. So
do we want to tell the people all of the stuff that we're going to be doing this weekend and beyond? Because we have a fun 9 days planned, of course, Jesse. First thing in the morning, I'm dropping you off at the Futures game. That's part of our first day tomorrow. So Jesse will be attending the Futures game while I go drink pina coladas or something somewhere else. No, we have a lot of work to set up where we're going to be doing the show from and all sorts of wonderful stuff. So make sure to keep it locked here. We will have a live show tomorrow covering the Arizona Diamondbacks game, covering everything that Jesse saw on his first day out there at the Futures game and so much more. And then, of course, Sunday, we have the MLB draft. We will be covering that, the final Diamondbacks game of the first half, and a little action out at the Frisco Rough Riders Lazy River out there in Texas. Of course, then we have the Home Run Derby and the All-Star game on Monday and Tuesday. No show next Wednesday, but Thursday we'll be coming to you live from Murphy's in Chicago. Then we'll be out there at Wrigley Field hanging out with the CHGO crew for the 120 game on Friday, 120 club, as well as those 2 games against the Cubs on Saturday and Sunday. Cubs have been playing some excellent baseball. They've won 5 in a row, so they're going to be a tough test for this Diamondbacks team after the All-Star break, and we will be there to cover it. We hope you guys are there to enjoy our coverage of all of this stuff, including the All-Star game, the All-Star week, and Chicago. So keep it locked right here. Make sure to drop us a like before you get out of here. Very excited to get out. We gotta be at the airport very early, so I should probably stop talking right now. But
you're picking me up to go to the airport.
I am absolutely not picking you up. No, I'm not. I don't even know how I'm getting to the airport yet. My wife was like, I'll take you.
I'm pretty sure that like Peoria area to the airport, I think you go right through Chandler. I'm pretty sure. So I think it makes
false.
Sense.
You know that's false, and I will not hear any. You're not going to trick me into picking you up. I don't even pick up people that actually are on the way, let alone someone that's going to dupe me into coming to pick them up. But
I heard that, Jesse. I did hear that.
Shut up.
Damon. It's just maps, Derek. Have you looked at a map? When was the last time you looked at a map? My goodness.
Well, we'll see which one of us makes it. I will see you guys, of course, tomorrow. Jesse will see you tomorrow. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Of course, the people's producer, Damon, is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG. We are Damon's Dogs. Bark. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks, but of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We thank you again so much for your time. We will see you guys tomorrow for another post-game show live from Texas. And in the meantime, hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you guys again so much for stopping by, and we'll see you tomorrow. In the meantime, have a wonderful night. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when Jerry P is on your team.
We all silly like the mayor.